Hello, today we're talking about understanding barometer readings. And what we use to measure the air pressure is called a barometer. And essentially all air pressure is the downward force of the atmosphere. And when you have more downward force, the air pressure rises. When you have less downward force or less weight, the air pressure drops. And that's important because typically what happens is when the air pressure is rising, the air is sinking, it's putting more pressure on the earth. But even more importantly, sinking air clears out the skies. So generally you have nice weather when the skies are clear and the barometric pressure is high. When the barometric pressure falls, you have rising air. It's rising away from the surface of the earth, so the pressure that it's putting on the earth goes down, the pressure falls. And typically with low pressure, you have clouds, you have rain, and when you have extreme conditions, you can also have thunderstorms, sometimes severe. The lower the pressure drops, you also get the worst weather. For instance, the lower the pressure in a hurricane, the stronger the hurricane is. So understanding how to measure it, we use these barometers. And it's very simple to read a barometer to tell you if the weather's going to turn good or bad, or whether you have high pressure or low pressure. Standard pressure, kind of the average pressure, is 29.92 inches of mercury. That's the way we measure it. That's the way it's marked out on most barometer, whether it's a mercury barometer, a water barometer, or an aneroid barometer. This type is an aneroid barometer, but when the pressure rises, the needle goes up, and if you measure it against 29.92, anything above 29.92 is considered high. The closer you get to 30 or 31 is considered high, and the farther below 29.92 you go, the closer to 29 or even below 29, that means the pressure is low. So simply watch it and gauge it against that 29.92 inches of mercury. Above it is high, below it generally is considered low.
Hi, I'm Brian with ericksontutoring.blogspot.com, and today we're going to discuss how a weather vane works. So, weather vanes measure the wind direction. It's a pretty easy process to explain, and I think it should be a fairly easy concept. So, weather vanes contain an arrow, or some sort of device that's going to point in the direction, and there's two main features of this arrow. First, the weight is evenly distributed on each side of this central axis. That allows for an even rotation of your arrow. The second main feature is that there's a difference in the surface area between the two sides. There's one side that has low surface area, and another side, the end of the arrow or some other feature that usually has a lot larger surface area. When the wind blows, it catches this large surface area and pushes it until the large surface area is directly in the path of the wind, and your arrow is pointing towards the direction that the wind is coming from. And then all you have to do is you read the direction that your small arrow is pointing at, and that's the wind direction. So that's how a weather vane works. Basically, the wind just pushes the large surface area side around until it can't push it anymore.